welcome back to another check-in. This week has been kind of wild, but every week is. So I feel like I spent most of last week packing, I guess, suitcases and boxes. So every opportunity that I had after work from like Monday to Thursday, I would spend about 1 or 2 hours each evening just putting together all of my like personal items into boxes, and with the intention of moving on like Sunday. So it's been a really busy week. It's been a really fatiguing week, I think, physically, emotionally, and I've got a couple of things I guess that I wanted to talk to you about in relation to that kind of shift and upheaval of your routine and how that can influence our nutrition behaviors as well as our, desire to train and exercise and move our bodies. But just to kind of give a quick recap, so we are now moving into this new week. It'll be 4 weeks into my new cut. I'm targeting a weekly rate of weight loss of about 0.8% of my body weight. So it's a little bit more aggressive than what I did for the first part of the year. But so far it's been fairly manageable. I will say this week has been a little bit more difficult just due to fewer hours in the day available to kind of commit to the stuff that I need to do, especially with regards to my nutrition. And you'll get to see a little bit of that this week reflected in my like fiber intake. And then I can also talk to you about like my food choices and, some of the things that I've had to do or at least be really mindful of. But let's have a look at that data. So you can see my weekly average weight this past week came in at 138.9, down from 140.3 the previous week. So if we have a look at what that actually amounts to, it was a 1.4 pound weight drop, which is excellent according to myself. So I'm moving along at a really good speed. Each week I've been trying to lose about 1 pound. And again, that's at that 0.8% of my body weight per week. So I want to dive, I guess, straight into my data. So you can see here, I had a pretty compliant week in terms of my overall calories, which is interesting to me because I was so busy every single day. I honestly didn't have a whole lot of time to do any meaningful meal prep this week. I had one dish prepared, and that dish was like a lasagna, and thank God it makes like 8 servings because I pretty much ate the same thing 2 times a day for at least 4 days. And then I would pair that with like a big side salad or some zoodles. I think I prepared like 2 full zucchinis worth of zoodles. And I would have a 100-gram portion with that as like the base and the foundations. And then outside of that meal, I'm pretty certain I was having just Greek yogurt, a sandwich here or there with some kind of really high protein filling, and that consisted of some fat-free cheese, lots of turkey or lots of ham, or a combination of both of those things. So my diet this week was really bland, very, very low variety, which is not the way that I would like to do prep. I was thinking about this from a micronutrient perspective. I would much rather have a really wide, diverse range of all kinds of foods, just to make sure that I am getting in, an appropriate, amount of vitamins and minerals. Just thinking about, each different color of the rainbow and how that contributes to your daily micronutrient intake. So this week definitely wasn't the best week in terms of food choice. Now, whether or not this is related or not, I feel like garbage every day at about 3 or even earlier than that, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I have been struggling to keep my eyes open. Now, that's probably due to improper sleep. And I'll talk a little bit more about why my sleep has been disrupted this week on specifically Sunday and Monday and even Saturday, to be honest. So there's probably some, terrible night's sleep or low sleep and low quality sleep influencing my energy levels. But just knowing how I've been fueling my body isn't great. And I think it's just starting to wear me down a little bit. So let's talk a little bit about that. So obviously I was packing every single night, after my full day of work, which is hectic. And then all of Saturday afternoon, I got my training and stuff done on Saturday morning. And then most of the afternoon was kind of packing and getting ready for, I guess, the moving truck on Sunday. So Sunday kind of went relatively smoothly until we needed to leave Fort Lauderdale and drive back to Tampa. So, you know, I have 3 cats, and you've probably heard me share the story where I had a cat go missing probably sometime in early 2022. I adopted 2 gorgeous little black cats from an animal shelter. I assumed that they were brothers. I kept one, my ex kept the other. But I guess this cat, before I even had an opportunity to take him with me, he escaped. He just disappeared, and I was devastated. I remember going around my neighborhood for several weeks straight looking for this cat, calling out to him, putting out food, treats, all of it, and he didn't come back. So he disappeared for almost a year. In fact, I think it was a year. And I ended up getting a phone call of Christmas last year, so 2023, or a text message from a random veterinarian clinic somewhere in, I guess, the Tampa area, but like an hour away from where I lived. And then that's an hour drive away, not an hour like walk away, an hour drive. So this cat has somehow managed to get to the other side of, you know, Tampa. I guess it's obviously possible over a year's time. Interestingly, right behind the neighborhood where Sam lives, which is so weird to me, like literally the neighboring like village, I guess you call it. And anyway, I drove back from Fort Lauderdale to pick this cat up. So several hours, drove him back to Fort Lauderdale. And I was a little nervous because, I mean, he'd been astray for, I guess, a full year. And I wasn't sure how he was going to fit back in with, you know, the original cat that he lived with. I'd already had a new cat since then, so my little Jerry, the tuxedo cat. But, you know, over the last couple of months, he has just softened. Like, my heart melts when I see him, and he gets like all affectionate, and he just craves the attention from MK, like my orange cat, which is the one he is familiar with when he used to live at our house. MK can't stand him. He hisses at him all the time. I feel so bad for Pepper because Pepper is just like, please love me. MK has no interest in giving this poor guy any affection. Occasionally I'll see him like cleaning him, but anyhow, this cat is not a cat that has let me yet touch him like voluntarily, at least not hold him. So, you know, you've got to put a cat inside a cat box or a cat house, whatever you want to call it. My other 2 cats, especially Jerry, he's like sitting in his parcel or his baggage ready to go. He loves traveling. He has traveled since, I guess, I got him. Always put him in, you know, the car and made him come with me so that he gets used to it. So he even sleeps in his cat carry bag. Like, he's so cool. MK, not much of a fan, but you know, he's just a limp, like soft fluffy cat. He's a marshmallow. We just put him in the bag. He's fine. He doesn't travel well. Pooped in my car on the way home. Wonderful. But Pepper isn't going to let me pick him up. So I had to get a cat trap for him. And I guess Sam helped me set it up, and we've got like cat food in there, hoping that, you know, it's dinner time. He's going to be hungry. Hopefully he'll waltz on in. We'll hide, get the cat trap, and we'll go. Well, it's already about 6:30 p.m. on Sunday night. So we packed the car that day, got everything kind of ready to go. We also had to clean the house, get it spotless because I'm Airbnb-ing this property. So it took us quite a bit of time to kind of get it all set up, ready to go, because then I'm not going to be there for, you know, the next week. Well, Pepper does not want to get in the cat cage. So I'm like, we're going to have to leave. Otherwise, we're going to be getting back to Tampa like after midnight. And it was after midnight by the time we got home. So we had to then, I guess, wait until the next morning to start unpacking all the stuff because it was so late. We were so exhausted. So I had to take up part of like my normal work day to unpack and load everything into the house, and then drive back to Fort Lauderdale again, 4 hours plus, to just check and see if he had climbed into the cat cage. And he hadn't. So we were like, I'm sitting there looking at, like, he's eaten the cat food. He's got like the stuff out of the cage. I'm like, yo, what were you doing while you were stray? Like, what cat antics did you learn to be able to steal cat food out of a cat tray? Like, it was, both of us were like, how does this even happen? So he's a very clever little guy, but now we're like, well, crap, what are we going to do? Like, we can't do this again. And we've got people moving into the house, like, or coming into the house to stay in a couple of days. We can't just say, hey, yo, do you mind if the cat stays with you? So we had to like lock him in the bedroom, and he's made a hole underneath my bed. You know how they've got like the lining? So originally he would just hide under the bed. Well, now he's managed to find a way to get inside the bed. So we had to pull the heavy like Cali King bed mattress apart, split the two bottom like base components because he was inside one of them, and like strip it down to just the mattress, and then we had to like turn it to get him out, which was already a hassle. Now he's like zooming around the room and hiding over here in this corner and hiding over there in this corner. So like we have turned this place upside down trying to get the cat. And there was one point where I recall him climbing onto a mirror that's like adhered to the wall, like, and the mirror is like this thick. So you can imagine there's not much to grip onto. He's trying to climb the mirror. And then at another point, he's climbing the window. And I just remember looking over and Sam's like, come on, Pepper, looking up at him. And then it was just like, he decided to, what are those? This is a flying squirrel. He's like flying squirrel towards Sam, like claws out, just like ready to kill. And we were like just terrified. But he's such a like a pansy, like he's the definition of like a pussy cat or a pussy. So we had to like put up barriers and like corner him in one room. I feel so bad for this guy because like I'm just thinking about the trauma he's experiencing. Like little does he know, we're just trying to take him home so we can care for him and love him. But we ended up like getting him into this cat trap after, I don't know, goodness, an hour or so of fighting in a room. But so we didn't get home on Monday night until I think again around midnight. Meanwhile, we've still got like this stuff everywhere. Like I don't know. So I then have to get up and start walking or doing my normal work week this week. It's been crazy. And previously, before I sold my house, I had committed to a vacation in Vail with my friends. And yeah, I guess we did not foresee this all kind of happening around this time. So I've now got a trip planned on Thursday this week, tomorrow morning in fact, which is a 5:15 flight. I'm already behind on work because I had to take all of Monday to unpack and do the cat thing. So I'm just like, I don't even know how I'm going to survive the next few days. It's not going to feel like a holiday. So anyhow, that's just been this week. I feel like every week I get on here and I talk to you guys, I'm like, yeah, my life's a shit show. But it's reality, and I feel like you guys can probably relate. Maybe not with the same circumstances, obviously, but you know when you've just had those periods of time where it's like you just can't catch up. So I just feel like I need, I don't know, to pencil off my entire schedule for the next 3 months and be like, I'm not doing anything. Just so that I can maybe find a day to film some content, which now I'm behind my content. I'm like, oh my God, this weekend should have been a filming weekend. So I have no content next weekend. I mean, you've got to run a business, like life goes on, still got to pay bills. So, oh my God, the cat debacle really set us back a hot minute. But not to mention, I don't even know, have I even trained this week? Let's go have a look. But weight's still coming down, which is just shocking to me. But again, I haven't even had time to think about like excessive eating, but let's talk about that. So I had mentioned that, you know, my food choices were pretty bland and basic this week. Minimal prep time. I had one meal cooked, and then it's just like throw together whatever I can in my refrigerator. So food enjoyment has been pretty low, at least when I'm in my household. So again, feeling a lot of emotions and a little bit of stress. This week, I've definitely felt myself kind of gravitating, number one, more towards convenient foods. So I have ordered out or eaten out quite a bit more this week, which is not my preferred way to do things on prep because it's always going to be lower fiber, less nutrient-rich food options, or at least I'm not really a fan of ordering, you know, salads and things online because they're so boring compared to the ones that I know I can make it at home when I have the time. But I think we did order a poke bowl one night and a couple of other things. I think I ordered a salad from, oh gosh, again, this got to the house at like 11:45 on Sunday night. I pre-ordered while I was driving to have some things delivered to the home when we arrived. It was either like Chipotle salad or something, which was fine. It had tomato, it had some chicken, but I mean, salad dressings are on the side. I think I bought out my like light mayo or something like that to serve with it instead. But yeah, I had to opt for convenience foods, and it is a lot more challenging to do that when you are on high protein diet and, you know, relatively low calories. I mean, 14-23 is what I had this week. But the other thing that I did do over the weekend, and I'm even surprised that I got to 17 or 15 grams of fiber, but like I think it was Sunday, or could have even been Monday, I might not even got these days tracked yet. We ordered a couple of different rounds of cookies from various places, like the big giant cookies. Now, I haven't been like eating the whole thing in one go, but I've definitely picked at probably 2 or 3 of those big cookies this past week. So it's fit within my macros, kind of. Again, you can see here my protein compliance. It's at 92%, and I want to see that around 100% for a prep so that I am optimizing my capacity to grow my glutes. Since I'm putting in the time and effort, I want to make sure I can build my butt. But this week my protein has been a bit lower, and that is just because stress is high, emotions are elevated, high desire and demand and a need for convenience foods. And I am looking for comfort. You know, that's a humane response. So when we are feeling extra stressed, you know, we want to detach from that. We want to remove ourselves from that uncomfortable feeling. We want to move towards something that makes us feel good. It's often, you know, away from the immediate threat or stress, whatever it might be. It could be many things. But it's such an easy thing for, you know, people, humans, to move towards food because it does provide us with that immediate kind of dopamine, you know, serotonin, you know, feel good release. But it's not necessarily going to solve the stress or the heightened emotional state. It can be, I think you can call upon it at times, but I think it becomes problematic when it's the only way that people, you know, self-soothe. So I'm aware of it this week. I've definitely found myself kind of wanting those types of things. And, you know, part of it is I just haven't had the bandwidth to do all the things that are necessary. And I know you guys have felt that too in your own endeavors to pursue, you know, your health and fitness goals. So I'm trying not to beat myself up about it too much, but I think the biggest thing I'm struggling with at the moment is just low energy and like the desperate need for sleep. So I hope that this week when we get to Vail that I can get through my work on Thursday. Everybody will be off bike riding and mountain biking. I'm going to be working on Thursday, but I kind of said, okay, Friday and Saturday will be the 2 days where I can actually do some mountain bike riding and hopefully spend some time with my friends. But I just want to sleep after that and rest and do nothing. So I'm hopeful that they're down to like watch TV or like go to a movie or something. I'll probably fall asleep if I go to the movies. But yeah, it's been a challenging week for sure. But not being critical, not getting angry or trying not to be angry, just accepting my circumstances as grungy, or what's the word I'm looking for, as grouchy as I might have been in my private space just here. I am trying to be optimistic about it. You know, we don't always have to like our circumstances. You know, you can only do your best. So trying to keep a positive outlook and hope that by the time I get to my holiday destination that I can at least enjoy a change of scenery whilst working. But coming over to have a look at my, I guess, scores for the week. My average sleep time looks like it was 7 hours, which means I've had some that were 6, probably some that were 8 on the weekend. Maybe Friday night was the 8. Muscle soreness has been relatively good, although today, holy moly, I'm already feeling my session from yesterday. I haven't squat for a little while, and I used a Smith machine squat. Again, it's not a super crazy difficult exercise for me, but it's been a while since I've done that. Remember, I've been training in a small gym, especially trying to show some different ways that we can be creative when you've got limited access to equipment. But the downside is now I'm returning to my normal movements. Oh my God, my adductors are so sore from just a basic 135 pound squat for 15 reps last night. It's crazy, but I know I'll adapt pretty quick. So muscle soreness has been okay up until today, unfortunately. Hunger hasn't been crazy. I think, like I said, I've started to feel myself kind of being, you know, pulled towards the more, you know, highly palatable, the really satisfying things up here. And again, I know that's just a reflection of my current like mood and stress. So I just need to be cognizant of that, I think, over the next couple of days, especially traveling. So making sure that I'm just making smart choices for the next few days. Subjective energy, we kind of talked a little bit about that already. It's kind of low, just from the perspective of my sleep has been not great. And I've also been getting really sore through the neck. I don't know why that is. I'm not sure whether my pillows are somehow no longer good for me. But anyhow, my Foods Focus score has been okay. I'd say, you know, I'm definitely feeling hungry, but it's certainly nothing compared to what I know I'm going to feel in a few weeks. So looking to my training, Still trying to prioritize that as often as I could. It wasn't always carried out at the time of day that I wanted. I had to be flexible in some instances where I had, this thing pop up, that thing pop up. I couldn't train in the mornings, ended up having to train in the evenings, couldn't walk in the mornings, or chose not to walk in the mornings because I was tired, did it in the evenings. So it's definitely been quite a non-routine for me, but I got it done. My overall resistance training caloric expenditure is down this past week, and again that's partly because Sunday was moving and that's normally a day when I would train, so I only got 3 lifting sessions in last week, which I'm a bit disappointed, but I hope that I can try to turn that around this week. Again, I am just not sure. This travel has really thrown me into a place I don't want to be, but anyhow, I'll deal with that as it comes. So calories are a little bit lower. Coming over to have a look at my cardio though, I did get my cardio sessions done, more than I needed to, which is good. So that kind of offset a little bit of the lack of resistance training in terms of energy balance. So I got to 884 calories in total, and that was achieved through 2 different bike rides and then a run. It was only 13 minutes. I haven't run for a couple of weeks. I had a big blister on my foot and I've been feeling just generally pretty lethargic. So I got through 13 minutes. I'm like, I need to stop. So I just walked the rest. But, I'll continue to do better. I was feeling really great a few weeks ago, but it's been so hot. And unless you get out on the road really early here, I just haven't wanted to do it because it is just not pleasant anymore. So this was probably one of the first days where I was up really early and able to even attempt a run. In terms of my low intensity steady state cardio, so I got 4 outdoor walks in, 1 indoor walk on the treadmill. It was actually thunderstorming on this particular morning on Saturday. And then I missed 2 days again, one due to the moving day. And then this day I was also considering packing and just getting some stuff organized. So you can see my steps on that day were only 2,800. I worked all day, didn't move basically. I got on the bike. There you go. I got on the bike that day. So that was better than nothing. I am so surprised to see that my weekly energy expenditure came in at 4,300 calories. Now my target is 45, so I am only 200 calories shy of my goal. So I'm gonna high five myself for that. It's pretty good, all things considered. Steps came in at 12,000 again. Don't know how I magically did that, especially with this day here at 2,800. So I mean, this day of me packing everything, I came in at just under 18,000. That kind of saved my butt, to be honest. And then there was a day earlier in the week where I got in a slightly longer walk, another slightly longer walk here as well to get my steps up. So where do we go from here, guys? Crazy. All right, so I am going to be bringing my calories down this week. Part of that is because I'm still not sure whether I will get all of my activity in. I did schedule it out and I want to show you what I have done. So I am meant to train tonight, glutes and shoulders, but I still have 8 coaching clients I've got to do, and it's already 7 after 7. I don't know that I'm going to be able to do it, to be honest, and I have to prioritize my work. So this session may not actually get done, which means, and tomorrow's a travel day and I'm going to have work again. I don't know that I'm going to get training in on Thursday, which leaves me Friday and Saturday to get some good sessions in. So I might be in a similar position as I was last week. So again, I just don't have any time for missed sessions or travel days at the moment. It's really tough. So again, hindsight's a wonderful thing. Wouldn't have predicted that I was going to sell my house. Here we are. Now over to my HIIT cardio. I have planned to do quite a bit of my mountain bike riding while we're away. We're going to be going up and down, like I guess Vale somewhere. I don't know if you guys have been to Vale. I haven't yet. I've seen it in the snowy time of the year, but I guess during the summer months it's a mountain biking community. So we've got the e-bikes planned, lots of bike riding. So I assume that I'll probably burn quite a few calories doing that. So that kind of offsets any need for any additional HIIT cardio at least, and maybe even offset a bit of the walking that I'm probably not going to be able to do. So again, we'll see. But look at what this kind of maps out as, just as I've written now. Again, I'm not sure how accurate that's going to be, but as it stands, it's only bringing me in at 3,000 calories and I'm 1,500 calories shy. So I don't have the capacity to also restrict my calories by that much. It's just not realistic. So this might just be a week where my weekly targeted rate of weight loss is not going to be 0.8%. It's probably going to be closer to 0.3. So a lot slower. Or if I'm able to squeeze in some extra walks through here, hopefully nick out while everybody's still sleeping. Again, that's the reality of doing a competition and having an end date. If you're more flexible and you don't have hard end dates, you can still enjoy your life and do these things in a slightly less restrictive manner. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. We will have to see. But for that reason, I did bring my calories down to 1329. So 120 protein, 120 carb, 41 fat. So a pretty big jump down in fats. That could be challenging eating on the mountain, but we do have an Airbnb with a big kitchen stuff. So I might be eating in all of my meals bar like one, for instance, and then just choose the nice restaurants that I want to eat at and have a filet or ahi tuna, just something that's easy to track and that is relatively lean. I'm not going to get any running in this week. I don't believe I will, but I do want to get in some kind of cardio. So we'll keep that the same. It might just come from a different form. And then I will shoot for 12,000 steps. I don't know the likeliness of that. My friends are pretty active and they like to get up and move around too. So hopefully I go close to this. So we shall see. But I'll be happy if I can just hit a slightly lower calorie target this week. And we'll see how I come in over the weekend or over, I guess, on Monday. So before I wrap up, I've got all the questions or some questions from this past week's, I guess, video series. We've only had it up for 2 days. I think it's only got like a couple thousand views at this point. So there weren't as many people to kind of scroll through and answer questions, but there are 2 that I wanted to tackle. So if we go down to the bottom, the first question is from Fit X Tiffany. So thank you, Tiffany, for sending this one or submitting this through. I used to be a runner in high school and I recently found joy in getting back into running. I feel like I'm kind of struggling balancing my weight training and running. How do I balance my running goals with my weight training goals? I usually train 5 days a week, but I feel like I probably need to run 4 to 5 times a week for my upcoming race. I'm feeling overall fatigue, very sore, lack of strength lately. Thank you, Holly. I enjoy these videos so much. And will you be at the Olympia? I'm going to go and I hope I get to meet you. Sorry, the Olympia is a week before my show. So I feel like I probably need to say no. I would love to be there. I've talked to Sam about going. He loves like watching the men's bodybuilding. I've enjoyed watching the men's bodybuilding. I feel like we have a bit more of a close relationship with a couple of the competitors now. 2 of them live kind of in our area, in Tampa and in the Fort Lauderdale area. And then he has a relationship with Samson Dowd. So he's actually, I think, kind of back and forth between Dubai and the UK. I think he recently just moved back to the UK. It was really hard on him and his family doing the, I guess, offshore training. But he's been in at the University of South Florida lab, had all of his muscle measurements taken. We ran into him at a recent show I was at. He was at the Pittsburgh Pro doing like guest posing with all the other men's Open Olympia competitors. So that was awesome. So I would love to go and watch it. I would have to see things pretty smooth and steady that week to be able to go. Being so close, I'd have to make sure that I'm all up to date on filming content, that business is going smoothly, and that I'm not trying to travel on a weekday. So I feel like 90% of me want to say no right now. Maybe there's a small inkling of hope. If I had a time machine, I'd be there in a heartbeat, but I just don't know whether it's realistic right now. But I want to answer your question. Okay, so balancing your running goals with your weight training. So it seems like this upcoming race that you're talking about is your top priority. It's not saying that you don't care about your resistance training or your strength or hypertrophy goals. They can still be, something that's important to you. But I think if you want to feel good and perform well for the running, that probably needs to take precedence at the moment. So it just sounds like you're doing a bit too much at the moment. So we kind of need to balance your stresses. So my suggestion would be, just for the time being, this doesn't have to be a permanent change, I would bring down your resistance training to maybe, something between 1 and 3 sessions per week. I don't know how you currently train, but I would be looking at, the types of movements, maybe getting rid of some of the more complicated, technically difficult exercises. Maybe the compound lifts might be, done away with. Keep some of the isolation movements in. They're just a little bit less taxing on your body in general. And that will not only free up and give you a bit more energy to kind of petition towards your running, you'll probably start to feel the positive benefits through being less fatigued and less sore. and then you'll start to see your improvements in the running. So, you know, you don't, I'm not saying that you have to increase your running beyond 4 or 5 times if that's what you're already doing, but I would probably back down on those other stresses just to see how much more improvement you can get in the 4 or 5 sessions that you are currently doing. I suspect that within a week or so, just pulling back and kind of, I guess, periodizing technically your resistance training, you'll start to see some really good improvements in your performance in the race. As far as like how you navigate that, I'm not sure of the distance. I'm kind of just talking blindly if I was to make recommendations about distance and time and intensity. But usually, you know, you want to make sure that you're practicing at the duration. You've done a few of the long hit outs and matching what you're going to be doing in the competition, so that your body's kind of used to that type of duration. But there's also lots of benefits to doing some of the shorter, you know, higher intensity runs as well, just to kind of keep your fitness high. And then obviously as you get closer to race day, you need to make sure that you're tapering off and giving yourself plenty of recovery so that you really go in fresh legs, but at your ultimate fitness and performance for the event. If you need any more specific support with that, again, I don't know whether we're talking Ironman or, you know, something that's shorter duration, like a 5K run or something, but you're welcome to reach out, and whether it's through myself or one of our coaching team, we can certainly put together some programming to really optimize that race day event for you. The other question that came through just before I saw as I was going to record, have you or other women that you've coached ever had to deal with cellulite in stubborn places like the upper and outer thigh, despite being relatively lean everywhere else with good muscle? It's something that I've dealt with and I probably will have to accept genetically. Thank you so much. So this one came from Meredith. Yeah, this is something that a lot of women experience. I get it. I think most people that I know have had cellulite or have cellulite. There are certainly some genetic predispositions to cellulite, but I don't think there's anything that we should be looking at, you know, in terms of, oh, there's something wrong with you, or, you know, you should try to fix this. I think that this is just something that is really normal. And culturally, from a societal perspective, I think it's become something that people demonize, men and women. I would like to see that shift back towards, you know, the other direction and recognize that it's normal. Like, women, let's normalize some of these things about our bodies rather than demonizing them and criticizing ourselves when there isn't really a whole lot that we can do about it. There are so many fad diets and, you know, gimmicky products that do not work. Anything that you see that is a cream or a pill or something that blasts, you know, cellulite away, please don't waste your money. There are no cures for reducing cellulite unless you are going to go in and have some kind of cosmetic procedure. It might be that you have liposuction or you do some of these advanced laser technology or techniques that, you know, completely change the surface area of your skin. But, you know, outside of those like medical interventions, there isn't really anything that we can do to change that. What I will say, however, is that if you were interested in having, you know, good skin composition in general, and I don't just say that from like the, you know, legs and cellulite, I say that for your skin health period, you know, drinking adequate fluid, eating a whole, healthy, balanced diet, getting in resistance training. You know, the more muscle you have, that will put pressure up against your skin and will look better. If, again, that's your definition of, you know, a better, you know, more attractive physique. But I would argue we need to push back on that and start to normalize some of these things. It's kind of getting out of hand. I think the women's beauty ideals in general are so extreme and so unrealistic for most people, unless you are wealthy and, you know, you've got access to the top cosmetic surgeons. It's just something that I don't think the average person should be striving to change. And I hope that culturally, and I am seeing a little bit of this already kind of start to peek through in certain areas, but you've got to look for it. You know, I hope that it starts to become something that's a little bit more accepted. You already see the trends, you know, of moving away from the skinny, thin ideals. You know, think back to the 80s and the 90s, it was the slim supermodels. Like, that was what the attractive look was. I'm happy that we've moved towards, you know, empowering women and, you know, being strong and fit and, you know, functionally like an athletic person. Like, that physique is more accepted. but we're still kind of pushing, you know, the limits of like female physiology. We're not meant to be super shredded. So now it's, you know, oh, you can be strong and muscular, but you've got to be really lean all the time too. Like it's not realistic. So I'm hopeful that, you know, there are enough people in the industry to kind of push that narrative, and that culturally we can start to change it. So I know that that's probably not giving you a great answer, but I think focus on, you know, feeling good in ways outside of just how your body looks. You know, focus on performance, focus on strength, focus on, you know, feeling mentally, you know, clear and happy. And that doesn't necessarily mean changing your body. You can do that through so many different ways outside of just your physical appearance. So I think that's all for this week, guys. If you have any questions, please by all means drop me a comment below. If you're interested in one-on-one coaching, please reach out to us here at Team Be a Body. We are all willing and able to take you on as coaching clients. We have several different packages starting as little, I believe, as 6 weeks all the way through to 12 months. My coaching packages start at about $17.50 for, I think, 12 weeks, something or close to that number. Our coaches have varying prices and different types of price points and inclusions. So if you are curious, please reach out to us via the Be a Body website. Don't forget to subscribe to Be a Brain, which is our monthly research review. We review 4 research topics in the areas of health, nutrition, and exercise science. These also are available in an audible form, so they are super convenient for anybody, whether you are a trainer, a coach, or just somebody that's interested in learning and enhancing your knowledge in those areas. And last but not least, don't forget to check out Be a Fit, my resistance training. Which is not just resistance training, it's just my training workout app. It has not only resistance training programs specific for hypertrophy, but we also have strength programs, hybrids of those two, mobility, stretching, flexibility, and cardio, all wrapped into a fantastic app with lots of flexibility. You can check that out. It's available on Android and iOS. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Prayer for me for this week. Oh my God, it's gonna be a crazy one. I'll see you at my next week update, and I'll probably have a lot of traveling adventures for you. See you guys.